Down and analysis in, around, across, and beyond the Ateneo. And now, let's get ready to run down!
To listen to music that uplifts the soul, follow Chesca PH on Spotify and Chesca Music on YouTube. Our music is also available on iTunes and Deezer.
Rejoice, refresh, renew, and reflect. Join us for an hour of music that uplifts the soul. Listen to your favorite Jesuit music ministry artists. This is JMM Radio. JMM Radio. Get your day's dose of inspirational music. Tune in to JMM Radio every Wednesday from 1 to 2 p.m. Only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Meron? Ano nga ba ang meron? Paano nga bang mabuhay ng tapat sa meron? Don't you wish you can relive your philo classes? The terror teachers? The terrible oral exams? Or the even terrifying but liberating and life-changing aha moments? Lundagin mo, baby! Here's your chance! Lundagin mo, baby! Kasama ang mga pilosopong sina Jovi Miroy at Ron Capinding. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping upward, leaping forward. Lundagin mo, baby! Leaping to greater heights, to greater wisdom, to greater magis. Lundag na, Ateneo!
Chesca Music Ministry. Music that uplifts the soul. Follow Chesca PH on Spotify and Chesca Music on YouTube. We are also on iTunes and Deezer.
Radyo Katipunan. Radyo Katipunan. News, insights, inspiration. Radyo Katipunan. Down from the hill and down to the world. Radyo Katipunan. The voice of the Blue Eagle.
Palalimin ang kamalayan sa mga isyong napapanahon. Makisangkot at makiisa kasama ang simbahang lingkod ng bayan. Ang Socio-Political Apostolate ng Kapisanan ni Jesus. Ito ang Kwentuhang Bayan mula alas 11 ng umaga tuwing Biyernes dito lang sa Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Dahil naniniwala kami na posible ang isang mas mabuting lipunan at maaari itong simulan sa isang kwentuhan. Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, 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 Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Voice of the Blue Eagle, kami di mapipigil sa pagbabalitang tumpa at tama. Buhay Atenista, sa loob sa labas ng eskwela, ating ibibida lahat ng eskwela. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Radyo, Katipunan. Kawal ni Ignacio, Katipunero, sugo, todo sa kayod, tulong at tulong.
This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek, Cholo as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.
This program is rated SPG. It contains scenes with themes, language, violence, sex, horror, or drugs, which may not be suitable for children. Strong parental guidance is advised.
And Philippine.
What's poppin', and welcome to Popcorn with Cholo Sadiar, your stop for all things pop, where we talk about all things pop culture from here in our own homes in the Philippine Islands to the rest of the globe and all the way to Thailand. Wink, wink. So welcome to the show, and this is, as you have heard that trigger warning, this is an SPG rated episode where medyo sensitive ang topics. I mean, there will be sensitive themes and topics in this episode, so just to warn or like for discretion for our listeners and viewers, we will be having some like hot takes and topics that might be triggering to a lot of people. So our episode for today, as you may have what do you call this? So our episode for today, if you have inferred, is about Thai BL series or boys love series. And before we begin our show, of course, let's introduce our co-hosts for the day. Let's welcome back our previous co-hosts. Nikki, ang tagal mo nang hindi nakarating dito.
I know. Hello there.
Welcome back. Franz, welcome back.
Hello!
Naka-ano pa tayo ngayon, naka-uniform tayo ngayon.
Naka-uniform tayo.
And
BL uniform.
all welcome to the show. A friend from Singapore, diba? International lang talaga tayo. Chesca is also joining us on this episode.
Hi.
Welcome. Actually,
Hi.
this whole episode, I was telling them earlier before we were recording, is kind of thanks to Chesca because I wouldn't have discovered this whole thing without her.
Sure.
So I was like, okay, we need to go on this show and we have to talk about it. Kasi we were just chatting all this time and ang dami kong natutunan na information just by chatting and like seeing her Twitter account and all that. So perfect that we have her with us. And Nikki and Franz as well, I've been seeing their tweets and we've been talking about it as well. So ayun, before we begin, kamusta kayo lahat after, it's been 2 weeks since that 2Gether finale or whatever na lang talaga.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever. I'm very angry. Like, lumalabas yung Singapore accent ko. Bottom line, man type, superior couple at the last episode. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Like, walang, kahit na hindi sila na set up ng maaga and they only got together at the last episode. Definitely superior. I mean, very natural yung pagtakbo ng couple ng man type. But yung main couple, like, what the hell was that? High five, guys. High five.
High five! Ganon.
We got together. High five. Walang hug. Walang kiss. High five. Sinasabi ko nga, buti pa yung mga kabanda ni Sarawat may hug. Si Time, may hug wala.
Oo nga, no. Di ko napansin yun.
Buti pa yung mga kabanda niya nakatanggap ng yakap. Si Time na boyfriend niya. May hug wala.
High five lang.
High five. Yeah, I'm very angry. It's been 2 weeks and I'm still triggered.
As you should be, and as a lot of people are actually. But I guess before we hear from the rest of the crew tonight or today, let's talk about the thing in general because it's really been, 2Gether is just one of the many examples of this whole phenomenon that's taken over Asia and I guess the rest of the world has also started
Mm-hmm.
catching on to it. This is the Thai BL phenomenon or boys love series. So it's been a while. Matagal na rin siya, 'di ba? Yung concept, but with
Mm-hmm.
this series kasi together the series, it really gained a mass following on mainstream Twitter at the very least, and even on ABS-CBN they also had an interview with Brightwin, who star in the show. So it's really a big deal, and everyone's just really raving about it. On the night of the finale, which was 2 weeks ago, as we record this, there were over 2.7 million tweets just about the show. So you can see that this is like a really big thing, and that it's one of the, surprisingly for me, parang since Game of Thrones ended, we haven't really had like a mass following for a TV show na everyone's talking about at the same time, watching at the same time on TV. And this is like the parang pagbabalik ng ganong TV viewing experience. Everyone's just like, have you seen the latest episode? Are you looking forward to the latest episode, to the next episode rather? And it's just really a lot of conversation going on online about it, and a lot of, I guess, conversation about the topic in itself. So I guess before we like start the rest of the discussion about Together, which is, I guess, the most popular at the moment, I guess it's kind of dig deep into the short history or backgrounder of what it is. Um, well, based on what I know, at the very least, a lot of these are actually based on novels. Am I right?
Yeah,
Yep.
most of them, yeah.
Cheska, I think
Yeah,
you're the
most of them, yeah.
expert on this
Ay,
episode.
grabe. Hindi ako expert. Please. But yeah, most of the Thai BL dramas that I'm at least aware of is based on novels like Sotos. Like I guess one of the more like can be considered a pioneer for like mainstream Thai BL dramas is based on the
Mm-hmm.
novel. Together is based on the novel. Fine Types is based on the novel. So far from a lot of the Thai BLs that I've heard of, they're all based on on novels. Yeah.
And it's not really just in Thailand, right? I mean, there are a lot of other Asian countries have been
Yes.
doing
Mm-hmm.
this BL thing na nobody's really been informed about until it became like a huge thing on the internet. I mean, I know there are someone from China, Taiwan, also,
China, not
right?
really. China is a bit tricky just because of the censorship, and
Uh-huh.
being gay in China is, if I'm not mistaken, it's actually considered illegal.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the censorship. If you're aware of the Untamed or CQL, for those who don't know, is based on a novel as well. That's gay. It's a gay novel, like in writing, but it's not mainstream. I believe it's mainly distributed underground, like online. And then when it got when Tencent, like the biggest media conglomerate in China, got a hold of the rights to do a show on this, they basically made it off as a bromance relationship in China. So China, very tricky when it comes to like gay content. Yeah. But Taiwan, yes. Taiwan, quality. Quality. Definitely.
And yun nga, parang I guess the main charm of it all, at least for me, na parang to see Asian people embrace this kind of phenomenon, and to see that they're like their stories that are already present and have been going on for a number of years na I mean, in the past maybe 10 years there wasn't really anything in the open out as celebrated as this phenomenon at the moment. And yun nga, I guess it's really a sign of the times that the people are changing, and ayun, it's just like really nice to see the progression of this phenomenon and this kind of genre. I mean, for people who aren't familiar with BL is, aside from that whole phenomenon, how would you guys describe the show, or like this genre na parang, of course BL means boys love, aka it's a gay storyline at the forefront, and even in the background, pretty much the whole show is kind of like LGBT centric. But aside from that, I mean, how would you describe it to someone who isn't necessarily familiar to the genre yet, aside from seeing what they see online?
Hmm, maybe something that can it's a show that definitely can bring light to like some very important issues, because a lot of the yes, I admit I watch BL dramas for the gay relationship. I mean, who doesn't? But it definitely, I guess, enlightens a lot of issues in the community, whether it be a positive issue or a negative, more like darker issue in the community. I mean, I cannot like say, I mean, just because I'm not part of the community at least, but as a straight consumer of uh this kind of content, feeling ko uh it's quite enlightening, and if you're not part of the community, it's a great way to at least dip your toes and like be aware, be
Mm.
made aware of what the struggles are for those who are gay, those who are, yeah, part of the community. It's a very light way of being introduced. Hindi ka mabubuhusan na lang bigla ng very intense issues and conversations,
Yeah.
which I like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, I do agree with Chesca. Ever since, actually, I also started through Together. Like, I knew about it na before, but like, I wouldn't watch any Thai BLs. But because of Together, sabi ko, I'm bored sa ECQ. Watch it, ganyan. And then, um, I found myself introducing it na nga to like a lot of my friends. And actually, mostly my straight friends also. Kasi, um, what I would tell them is that one thing that I got from it is that if everything they were doing were things that hetero couples would be doing, it's still the same thing. It's still kilig. It's still love. You know what I mean? It's just that this depicts a different kind of love, but still the same love.
Very
So
true.
that would be one of the first things that I tell them. And then the second nga is just as Cheska mentioned kanina, is because it helps give them like a way of understanding us at least a little bit better, because it's still different. It's like BL is like a window to help understand na parang, you know all the members of the LGBT community aren't just like that, and there are a lot of things that may have progressed in our lives na could have led to us being who we are. And at the end of the day, I always tell my friends when I talk about Thai BL is that one thing that I really got from it is that pride, the definition of pride for me changed because of it. Pride for me used to be being proud of who I am, but because of watching Thai BL series, for me, pride became being proud of my capacity to love. And that's something that's always like prevalent through any series that I've watched so far.
A great way of putting it. And I have a question lang. When you recommend it to your straight friends, is it straight female friends or straight male friends?
Actually, both.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
And
both.
that's cool.
I mean, it's very interesting then kasi na, of course, the captured market is already LGBT people,
Mm.
or especially gay males, but we have a lot of women who are our allies and who also support this type of like series, and who also are proud to show na okay, we support this kind of show and this kind of love. And Nikki, I also want to hear from you kung ano yung ano mo. I mean, syempre kayo ni Cheska are coming from a different position as
Mm-hmm.
well, watching from, I mean, of course you know gay people, but like as a friend and as an ally of LGBT, like what makes it interesting for you?
Well, personally, kasi I identify as a part of the community, but
Uh-huh.
syempre, like, it's different being a woman as,
Yeah.
like, parang seeing what's being depicted talaga in BL. And parang, like, kind of like bouncing off of what Fran said na parang it's like a different kind of love but also the same. Parang it's a different way of seeing love on screen na parang it's not just like all like guys and girls together. Parang it's a different depiction lang. And I think what's interesting about it is even if we're like not men or we don't identify as men, we kind of still can identify with the stories that they show in the shows.
And I mean, I guess you're right in a sense na yun na nga, it's just like you can also identify yourself, meaning that these types of shows really just show that love is love, and that's pretty much it. I mean, if you look at it in the super surface level, think of it as your Star Cinema rom-com movie but with two male leads instead of like a guy and a girl. Kasi kung nilagay mo din yung
Exactly.
iba-ibang tao doon, whether it's two girls and two guys or a guy and a girl or whoever, it's pretty much gonna be the same thing, but it's just
Mm.
really a great representation, I guess, for something that we haven't really seen in the mainstream media, at least
Mm.
in Asia or in Southeast
Mm.
Asia,
Or
in
in the
like a
Philip, I
long
mean, in
time,
the
or not
Philippines,
in this
yeah.
not in this light at the very least. Na
Mm.
I mean, syempre maraming conversations going around about the problematic things that can also stem from this kind of show. We'll talk about that a bit more later on the show. But yun nga, at the very least, it's a good gateway nga, as everyone else was saying. It's a really good gateway into what type of stories are present and what type of struggles are also present in the LGBT community and the people in it. And, you know, it's not just one side of the LGBT community either. There are different types of people. I mean, in the same way, in rom-coms, iba-iba din yung characters. Ganon din naman na iba-iba din yung types of gays that you can see. Iba-iba din yung... there are also female friends and female characters, although that's something... That's another topic altogether for me. But that's what's really, ano for me, that's what's really makes it attractive, or what gets people hooked to it. But I'm curious, like, how did you get into this whole thing? Kasi ako, yun nga, si Chesca, I just saw it. I just saw Torn Type the series on her Facebook page. And then I was like, ooh, what is this show na, you know, there was like fanfare. And then, I know kasi Chesca, like, a K-pop stan talaga. But like, I saw that Thai BL aspect. And I was like, super curious, even before Together broke out. And then I was like, okay, panoorin ko tong Torn Type. And then, I just messaged Chesca, and we kind of like opened up even further than we were talking before. And then I was like, oy, Chesca, napanood ko yung pinost mo. And then yun na, nag-ano na from there. And then Together happened kasi I'm trying to like really watch a lot of variety of shows. I'm also watching Korean on the side. I just started anime as well. So like the Asian power is like right there. But anyway, that's mine. And I've only seen so far, I'm kind of like a newbie lang to this talaga. I just watched Turn Type the series and Together pa lang. Pero I know you guys have already watched more than I have.
Actually, for me, I'm kind of just like Cholo. I just recently watched because of the ECQ. Yun nga, it's the same. I knew about it because of people posting like way 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 back. Pero ngayong quarantine lang ako actually naging curious. So what happened with me was I was going through Twitter, and then one of the people that I was following got so many retweets and likes for this certain parang art he made. It was a certain scene from Together, the one where they were sharing yung ano, the, yung earphones.
Oh,
Well,
that was
well,
so good.
that was so good, right? And then I saw it, but then I didn't get the context. Pero parang kinilig na ako. And you know, the quarantine just started. I was like so bored. Sabi ko, I don't like binge watching, but sige, fine. You know, I'll give this one a try. Ended up na I finished until, I don't know, I think it was only until episode 6 then. So that day, that week, I watched Together every day. all the present episodes, I watch it like five, 6 times every day. The whole thing. Tas sobrang kinilig talaga ako. And then after that, while waiting for the next episode, I felt a little bit empty. So I started watching some more. And then, nagbi-binge na ako ngayon.
Yeah, like actually same na I found Together during quarantine. And then like when I finished all the episodes until bago dumating yung recent ones, parang like, kailangan ko ng something na panoorin. And then I found the next BL that I watched, which was Theory of Love. Yeah, yun.
My story is a bit longer. Well, the very first BL movie, actually Thai BL movie that I've seen is Love of Siam with Mario Morer. That was way
A
back
classic.
when, like, yeah, a
I watched
classic.
that.
Like, oh my gosh, still gets to me. And then
Iba talaga OG si Mario no?
True.
I know, but yung etong wave ng addiction started actually because of not a Thai VL drama, but because of Shadowhunters, which is an American series based on a fantasy book. So I basically left GOT7 on hold, put them on hold, because Shadowhunters was being a very expensive thing. So I created a separate account for it and a separate Twitter account for Shadowhunters, and I don't know if you guys are aware, there's a gay couple in Shadowhunters as well with Harry Shum Jr.
Yes.
And Matthew Daddario, and then I kind of gravitated towards Shadowhunters because of Harry Shum Jr. at first, but then their love story, like, and as a gay couple, was just very, like, I don't want to say profound, but there's just something about gay couples in mainstream media for me that hits very differently. Maybe because before Shadowhunters, to be honest, I've never watched dramas. I don't have the patience or the time to dedicate days or months to watch a show. Like, tamad. Peak katamaran, like I said kanina. But there's just something about gay relationships on mainstream media that gets to me. I honestly don't know what, but yeah, when Shadowhunters ended, I have a few people that I follow on Twitter who started tweeting about the Untamed, which is the China show that I mentioned earlier. Na dapat gay couple but ginawang bromance. And then after that ended, these same people started tweeting about this two actors na ibang level ang chemistry. So I've been seeing photos, videos, and there's this one event in Thailand, which was a Shopee event back in, I think, November or December, that caught my attention. So yung mga friends ko, they were tweeting about it. I never really paid attention to it, to be honest, until that Shopee event where these two guys were taking Polaroid photos, kissing each other's cheek. I don't know if I can show it here, but hanapin ko yun. But yeah, that one kind of
Which couple is this?
New Gulf.
Yes.
So
Yes.
So sila yung first Thai couple na medyo mahirap hanapin. But yeah, it was this event. Ay, kita ba?
Yeah.
Itong yung event na yan. And it was, kasi I'll try to find the photo. Ibang level yung chemistry nila for, like, I assume, I don't want to assume, sorry, I don't want to assume their sexuality, but for two actors who are not a couple, they were willing to go the lengths for fan service, quote unquote, like kissing each other's cheek, being very PDA on stage. And then I looked into it, and then started binge watching December 2019. So it wasn't the quarantine or this pandemic that pulled me into this whole world of IBL. And then after Turn Type was the very first one. And then after that is just a whole whirlwind of things that started happening. And then together the series in particular, everyone was kind of hyping it up just because of how popular the original novel was. And there's this YouTuber, Thai, mostly on Thai BLs. The channel name is Biol Sarang. I know it's not Thai, but it's Korean. But that person, if I'm not mistaken, is half Thai and lived in Thailand, and she does uh uh she talks about Thai BLs in particular. She sometimes goes into each episode, like for example on about Together, she goes into discussing about the difference between the novel and the show, stuff like that. And she actually introduced me to a lot of Thai BLs because I think late last year she came up with this video about like 10 or like top 10 or top 5 Thai BLs that I'm looking forward to 2020, and Together the series was one of them. So kind of looked forward to it, and yeah, just fell right into it.
And yun na nga parang I was, at that time yata that I was watching Turn Type, Chesca was already telling me, okay, you should watch this. And Together was one of those recommendations. And then, syempre sa kakakloy ko and other Korean stuff and other shows, parang I was like, okay, I'll just keep it on my list. But then everyone just started really tweeting about it. And then, ayan na, I just went straight si Franz sa mga pasimuno din ng
Message
Together.
pa ako ni Cholo. I was like, watch it.
I feel like Together is quite a safe BL drama to get into, just because it's not as like my colleague says, as exciting as Turn Type. So it's
very vanilla.
it's very vanilla, like any GMMTV Thai BL dramas. It's very vanilla.
I think that's what makes it great, na it's so wholesome and so parang, accessible to anyone else, na even probably, hopefully, like open-minded straight guys or straight girls or other LGBT members would be a bit more, parang it's easier to digest in a sense, because it's so parang if you put it lightly, it's so patwitams, pa-cute lang talaga, na it really takes a while for them to even like be intimate, and even at the end walang nangyari.
Walang nangyari talaga.
Walang nangyari.
Wala. Julian, oh my God, yung Julian na video, walang nangyari.
Tignan mo. Walang nangyayari.
Oh my God, accurate.
Natatawa lang ako dun sa walang nangyari. Somebody should tweet that about this show. But I guess that should lead us to a bit parang digging deeper and Together the series, because it's one of the most popular ones as mentioned earlier. And we kind of like just gave a brief history of us and what we think about the genre specifically. But now let's go into the show. This debuted in January ba, if I am correct? Feb. And
Feb 21.
Ayun, it's about two guys, obviously. It's a BL. Si Salawat and Tyne. Salawat. And it's really I guess in the very opening line, hindi naman siya spoiler. It's about, I guess, finding the right one for you. Yun ang sinasabi ni Tyne, di ba, na, you know, you never expect it and what kind of form they will take. And, you know, I found myself in this situation. And, yun, si Sarawat, parang tumatakbo siya, hinahabol si Sarawat. Slow-mo with all the fangirls, mga fanay, Sarawat's wife's club. And, ayun, I guess you have to see it for yourself to really be able to like get a grasp of it, because we don't want to spoil it altogether completely. So if you haven't seen the show yet, you can pause this and then you can just come back to it after you've seen it. But now we will kind of be going into like the storyline a bit more, because, you know, it's something worth discussing, I think. And yun na nga, kasi Together is the most recent one in everyone's minds. And yun nga, as mentioned earlier, I really feel like it's such a good gateway for anyone, like literally anyone, whether you're gay, straight, or bi, lesbian, trans, ben, trans, nagkumanta na ng born is. But yun, I mean, I guess the main topic na kasi at this point is really the finale, as we were talking about earlier on the show, na yun nga, walang nangyari. Kasi parang you're expecting in a story that there's really a build up and parang there's momentum leading up to like a really big moment that will give you the emotional payoff that you've invested since the beginning. Kasi parang the first part, parang getting to know you, pa-cute lang sila, ganyan. And parang eventually, of course, you'd expect something deeper or something more like, something parang may payoff talaga na yung pinaghirapan mo or binigay mo na energy, binigay mo oras, may mapapatunguhan na parang, at the end of every rom-com, of course, you're gonna expect like a super big grand moment or yung kikiligin ka talaga. I mean, ang dami namang kilig moments talaga since, I mean, even in the first episode, I would say. But, you'd expect something like level up. And we ended up with, yun nga, we
A
ended
high
up with a
five.
high five. And that was that. We don't know if this will get a season 2 yet. So,
Mas kilig pa nga nung hindi pa sila eh.
yun na nga.
Parang
Girl,
ang
you
labo,
said it.
diba? Ang labo, it doesn't make sense.
Like,
Honestly,
I really
for me-
feel like there was a lot of hesitation. I'm not sure. Of course, yun nga, as Chesca was saying, GMM TV is a pretty wholesome channel. So I guess there are restrictions as to what they can show. But yun na nga, parang you could really feel na may ano lang sila may ceiling lang sila as to what they could give. And parang crumbs na lang na kung ano yung kikiligin ka pa rin sa crumbs na yun, para kang langgam. Pero, I mean, at the end of it, I mean, it was still a fun experience and it's nice to see a community really celebrating that for me. It's just really the ending that like was very disappointing. Actually, since para episode 11 pa lang, medyo wala na
episode
nakukuha.
10, 11, they just let the ball go on that one, I feel. Because I don't wanna like give an excuse na it's because it's GMM TV, dapat wholesome. I mean, if you've seen Dark Blue Kiss, which is a GMM TV show as well, Sun and Mark had a bed scene. I mean, they can do it. And ang sinasabi ko ngayong ultimate rant ko about the finale was, it really didn't make sense. It was so out of Sarawat's character, who ever since he expressed his interest kay Tyne has been wanting to touch Tyne's boobs. And then, naghiwalay sila, tapos nagkabalikan, high five? Ano yun?
Parang you dedicate a song, you write a song to a guy, and then you dedicate it and perform it in front of a crowd and declare your love. And then at the end of it, you're gonna give back your like token of love and then just give a high five. Parang, okay, that didn't make sense.
Sobrang out of character kay Sarawat, in my opinion. And then the way it was just shown, sobrang labo. Because like, okay, a lot of people have been saying that, these straight girls just want some action or love scene. Because that was quite yun yung parang tingin ng mga ibang like gay viewers on why straight girls like Thai BLs in general, is because we like seeing like action, sex, ganon. But in my opinion, etong ending, we're not asking for a kissing scene, we're not asking for a sex scene. We just want it to make sense, and it didn't make sense at all. As in, ha?
Character thing.
Yeah. Sobrang out of character. Yun talaga, sobrang out of character. Sarawat, like, even before, even the episode prior, he was like, nung nasa kwarto, nandun sila sa bedroom nila, like, he was like, oh, should I, like, make you, what did he say? Should I make you cry some more or something like
Yeah.
that? Like, he wanted to have
Do it.
sex with him.
Yeah.
Tapos, nagkahiwalay, balikan, high five. Again, it's very out of his character. Like, Sarawat is such a passionate, I feel like, such a passionate character. He writes songs. He wants Kain's boobs for some reason. And he's expressed it constantly in almost every single episode, except for the last.
Yeah. And
So,
something
I
that
don't
was
know.
also surprising or like bothering for me is that they kissed more when they weren't even together. They didn't
exactly.
even kiss at all when
Yeah,
when they got together, right?
yeah. I actually talked about this with my friend like right after the last episode ended. And parang you're talking about the high five. Because like parang I didn't even notice because parang what was happening in that episode. And then so we talked about it. And then he was like, baka kasi they're like a new couple and then parang they're hiya pa to do anything, parang anything touchy in
Outside.
public.
Yeah.
Like, so parang, okay, like that's a point of view. Pero parang gets ko yun, but then I feel like a more in character thing could have been written or done for Sarawat.
Yeah.
Okay,
and
kissing scene. If they're mahiyain, I don't wanna kiss in public. I get it. Pero hug man lang. I mean, Sarawat
they were social
announces.
distancing.
Oh my god. Very timely. Okay.
It's like the title should have been social distancing together.
Together.
Oh my gosh.
Pero parang yun nga, to lead up to a grand finale, supposedly grand, and you end up just wanting more, but in a bad sense, in a sense na parang, okay, this was supposed to be hyped up so much na ang dami nag-tweet, ganyan. Tapos, ayun lang. I mean, I don't know I really can't understand what the writers were thinking at the end of it na this is what we would give them. I mean, Franz and I were also talking about this na maybe it really seems kasi na a lot of the scenes, of course, weren't shot chronologically and halata naman with their hairstyle, etc. na you know which scenes were taken like in the same time frame from different episodes. Halata mo yun kung nasa isang location lang sila. And I guess that might be one of the reasons na one of the first scenes siguro was like that scene.
Finale.
Yes, parang weird. It's just really weird to me still na regardless of that production logistical error or issue, I don't think you should write it that way na ganun na lang. You think the fans would be like satisfied with it.
And that was okay with the director.
I mean, okay, about the chronological like shooting thing, right? Totos, if I'm not mistaken, the final, because if you've seen Sotos, the first one, their very first kissing scene on the show was on that bridge. That was the very first kissing scene. But actually, the very first kissing scene that they shot was the one that was on the last episode, if I'm not mistaken. And it was a very beautiful kissing scene. So, I mean, chronological, I don't think it's an excuse, but...
Yeah, it's not an excuse.
It's not an excuse, yeah.
I mean, ewan ko na lang talaga
I'm still angry.
Nangyari dun. Pero kasi, yun nga, coming off from Fun Type, which I watched the whole series before I started Together, yun talaga, you can really see the development of the characters and how each one changed throughout the course of time. Even in the special 1 hour, 30-minute episode, which I just finished before we recorded this, you really see may emotional payoff, may excitement, may kilig, may mga action din, in a sense na action meaning mga intimate
Suntukan.
scenes.
Akala ko suntukan. Kasi may suntukan din.
Si Robin, may mga machete na nalalaman doon sa action
Yes.
scenes. But yun nga, you really see na, kasi that was what really hooked me into the series. Although there are problematic parts of it, of course, which we'll discuss a bit more after this whole thing. But it's really na, I was expecting some type of ganong emotional level investment payoff at the end of it. Na okay, kilig ka tapos yung may sense yung story and how they
And
progress.
satisfied.
Exactly.
You're satisfied, yeah.
And you keep on wanting more, and they will give you more because there will be season 2 for Tharn Type. So yun, parang any
Yeah,
other
I agree.
comments on Together and whatever?
Like,
For me,
I
honestly,
saw... Yeah.
Okay, go.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Go, go,
for
go.
me, honestly, I feel like the whole season 1 should have ended somewhere between episode 8 to 10,
Yeah.
right?
Agree. Totally
Like,
agree.
ang weird nung twist. Or parang yung, I don't know.
Yung
That,
best friend.
yeah,
best
yung
friend.
pasingit thing in like the last part of the whole season. Parang,
It should have been introduced earlier on.
yeah, like if they really wanted to introduce that, parang it should have been somewhere between like 9 or 10. Parang intense naman yung character.
Exactly.
Character niya.
Oh, I have a comment as well on Together as a whole. I know it is a BL. Like, people watch it for the gay couples, but I hated, and a lot of people have mentioned this as well. I hated the way they treated their female characters. I felt so bad for Peach. I felt so bad for that girl that yung best friends ni Tyne was pushing him to, and then they were supposed to study together, tas hindi na lang niya sinipot sa kwarto kasi he went to Sarawat.
Yeah.
And then this Sarawat's best friend. I mean, and because yung YouTuber na sinasabi ko kanina, si Biol Saran, she's read the original novel, and she was also very frustrated with how they wrote I always forget her name, yung best friend ni Sarawat.
Si Pam.
Yeah, si Pam. Because apparently in the novel, she's not supposed to be an antagonist.
Yeah.
Like, she wasn't supposed to go there to declare her love. She was there just as a like literal best friend to push, and she actually pushed Time, if I'm not mistaken, or pushed Sarawat to Time. And yeah, the way it was written on the show was very different. The way she was written on the show was very different. So yeah. So
And it also happened kasi it also happened already earlier in the show na it was Tyne's side naman na 'di ba, with another girl, and parang okay, you just flip the table and put it on Sarawat's side, and then it's kind of just the same thing technically.
Yes. Hot takes.
Yeah.
I guess we should start going into our hotter takes now that we've kind of discussed Together. Of course, this is talking about BLs as a whole, but for me and Together and Tharn Type, kasi yun palang yung napanood ko, so medyo doon. And I guess you guys have seen a bit more than I have. I mean, this is kind of more like our pop takes, our new segment on the show where we talk about hot takes even further. So I guess kasi ang daming tropes na present in this genre, as with any genre, and a lot of them, of course, are like everyone loves football because football is a popular sport in Thailand, and
Engineering. Engineering students.
May
All
music
the
then,
engineering
music
students.
involved. I mean, what are the other tropes present? Kasi si Chesca, maraming kinukwento sa akin na mga, kasi I was very shocked when I watched Tharn Type, the first episode at least. And I was kind of recommending it to other people din kasi, and they were like, got so turned off just from watching the first episode. Yeah. And yun nga, I guess that's the kind of our gateway into this section of the show. I mean, what are the other tropes you think that should be, that are present and should be talked about? I mean, of course, that's mga rape scenes. Okay, this is where
Yeah.
we start talking a bit more about triggering
Trigger
topics. So
warning.
if
Trigger
you're
Yeah.
not
warning.
comfortable with it, you can stop listening and maybe like move
Fast
to
forward.
fast forward na lang, maybe 10 minutes after this. I don't know. But we'll be talking a bit more about sensitive issues surrounding the LGBT community, I guess, and also BL series in particular. So yun, there can sometimes be rape involved, and it
Sexual
doesn't really
assault.
play out as
Mm.
nicely as and sensitively as people are expecting to. I was really shocked when I watched Thorn Type, that last part of the first episode
Mm,
specifically, and it
mm.
really, a lot of people I've recommended it to were like, "Oh, why did you recommend this to me? Isn't this like so problematic?" So ayun,
Mm.
Cheska, may ano ka ba?
Yeah. It's actually this one I was quite surprised as well. I'm getting a lot of my sources from Biol Sarang. So I'm gonna mention that channel again. Apparently it's not just in the BL genre. It's a prevalent problem in the Thai media in general. Like even straight hetero couple dramas have that problem where they romanticize sexual assault, rape, which is very disturbing. I, for one, even though like Turn Type is like my favorite BL drama of all time, I still cannot get behind it. That's why even nung sa going back to Together, nung they were trying to get Time drunk, that one was very off for me as well. Very, yeah, I have nothing else to say except like problematic. And uh yeah, it's a huge issue in Thailand in general, which is, and I think they're trying to. There are a lot of people who've spoken up about it, and like that, and point out that this is not good. It's not. It's a very huge problem in the Thai media. But um, I I don't understand how some people find it romantic. I honestly don't. If you've seen Love by Chance, which is Fun Type's sequel,
Mm.
but it lives in the same universe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's that one is worse than the Turn Type issue because they actually become a couple. And I'm not sure if he was blackmailed into becoming a couple, but they become a couple. But the relationship started off where the other guy was literally raped, not even like sexually assaulted. He was raped, which I literally cannot get behind. Um, yeah, that is the for me the main problematic thing in Thai BL dramas. Another thing that I also, it's not a problem, but it's such a, I don't know, parang scapegoat, or just to it's not what do you call this, parang a lot of these Thai BL dramas, they basically have all the male characters become gay, which is not very realistic, but I know it's a drama, so it doesn't have to be realistic. But
Yeah,
parang uh queer baiting, that was
yeah.
the term that I was looking for. Queer baiting, like, okay, everyone is gay, and
Welcome to Chromatica, ganon.
but yeah, mm, I guess that gets viewers. So
I mean, I guess in a sense, kasi for people who haven't seen any show, you must also know that this is very exaggerated also in a sense
mm,
na a
Mm.
lot of the things are really mostly fictional. And I mean, as with any fictional work, but this is very OA talaga in a sense na, okay, ang daming ang bagay na hindi naman ka panipaniwala. Na I'm really curious kasi like how I really don't have any Thai friends at this point, but I'm curious as to how it actually represents the culture in Thailand. Kasi iba yung sa atin dito sa Pilipinas which we're more familiar with. So for us, it might be something exaggerated, but to them it might be real. I'm not so sure. Have
Yeah, I
any
also
of
don't
you
know.
like heard from Thai people about this?
From Bill Sarang, yun din yung ano niya, pet peeve niya na lahat bakla.
Yeah.
Kasi sa buong barkada, lahat kayo, ano?
Yun na nga like
Together,
get
magkakapatid.
together. Yeah, parang
Oo nga, no?
I mean, congrats to the mom and dad. Parang they're gonna get so shocked na both of their sons are gay in gay relationships, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, okay, maybe it's not impossible, but I feel like, okay, sa isang barkada, you started off thinking or believing that you're straight. And then one goes off to become, like, to be together with another person of the same sex. And then biglang lahat kayo ganun na rin. Mas kapani-paniwala for me if all of them started out as gay, or you all become friends
Because you're gay.
yeah. I mean, for me, I don't know if it's starting from, like, looking from the outside, it doesn't really seem realistic, but then again, it's fiction. So
Yeah, but in a sense, in kasi fiction also has to represent reality at least like 70%. I mean, if it's like not a fantastical show at the very least, you have to have aspects of what is like believable din eh. Pero I guess it comes with this genre then specifically na, you know, this is like really like out of reality or out of what you think is like acceptable or ano ba talaga yung actual percentage, because yun nga, not everyone is a queer eye barkada and you know you have all gay people, and yun na nga in the story then na parang it doesn't really just make sense that everyone happens to be gay or ends up in a gay relationship.
I feel like it can happen naman. It's just like something we're not exposed to, or parang we don't know a lot about
Yeah.
that happening. But parang with that in mind, like the parang whole barkada being gay, there's this like the one BL that I like super like, my favorite, Theory of Love. Parang it's one of the shows na parang doesn't have that. I haven't watched a lot. But,
I agree.
like parang that's nice. Parang that's something I noticed din na parang is everyone in this universe gay? Parang, no, kasi parang like this is supposed to be a show about parang centering on one gay couple. Pero ang dami pala, which is not what we're used to in real life, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or like mainstream media. Yeah.
For me, to add, kasi the series that I watched after Together was Thorn Type. And then for Thorn Type, I think it was more focused on the couple lang yata, di ba?
And then so a lot of gay
what I liked.
couples surrounding them.
No, that
Possible
was what I liked.
possible gay couples.
Yeah, possible. Ay, nako.
Mga incest na to, ganon.
No, techno.
Oh my
But
God,
like,
I hate
you know,
sorry. I hate
after that, I went straight into Together With Me, if you guys have watched that. And then, if it actually, I was actually surprised kasi, you know, yun nga, it was the same with you guys. Is everyone here gay or it's just this, ganyan? But when I went into Together With Me, it's 3 seasons kasi. It's like Star Wars. It started with Bad Romance. Pero, and then Together With Me is actually the prequel. And then they made a sequel. So Bad Romance is actually in the middle, but it came out first. So I watched it chronologically.
It's the Thai gay Star Wars universe.
Yeah, it's a Thai gay Star Wars. Yeah. But like when I watched it, I mean it's not perfect. I thought this one naman is for me the best na Thai series I've watched so far. It really shows kasi nasanay ako sa Together na you have this whole barkada and then suddenly everyone's gay and then parang sobrang filler lang yung mga parts ng ibang characters, yung ibang couples. But then Together With Me was such a refresher because there's this whole barkada and then they're all the storyline is revolves all around syempre the gay couple, pero parang the other couples aren't any less of that.
Yeah.
And there are also straight relationships there. So sabi ko, oh, okay, so this works. Kasi it shows the dynamics of parang a barkada wherein you have a gay couple, and then you have heteros also, straight people. And then they're all actually very caring of each other. Na it comes to like a point na at the end, I was crying so hard kasi ang ganda ng dynamics ng friendship nila. And sabi ko, this is the kind of like barkada na I wish let's say like 2Gether had, especially since this, as we were saying, it's a good gateway or entry point for people who are interested, especially when we're introducing Thai BL to other people outside of, let's say, the LGBT community. It was a good way to show na parang, oh, you can understand your gay friends. You can actually even stand up for your gay friends. Na sometimes, we have those na parang, oh, dinidisown ng family, ganyan. But then these friends are also your family and they got your back. So if you guys haven't watched it, you guys should like really watch it. Parang ano siya, pang shake up nung usual na nakikita natin na everyone is gay. But I think Chesca saw also Sotos.
Yeah.
Sotos is also not everyone's gay na barkada.
Two Moons. Actually, 2 Moons is the best example for that. Like, everyone is gay. There's like 3 main couples and everyone is gay. Yeah, they just all ended up being gay. It's quite. It is. I didn't find it like I didn't find it as a problem, but it was just quite interesting that everyone just turned out to be gay.
I mean,
So, meron
kasi
bang ganun?
in reality din naman, I mean, a lot of, I guess, a majority of gay people or queer people in general would say that most of their friends are either women or gay barkadas or mga may mix din naman talaga na there happens to be a gay guy in like a barkada of 5 people na 4 people are straight and one person is queer. And I mean, I guess that's something the genre has to work on. I guess the queer baiting aspect of it. And I guess in an ideal world, I mean, some people are saying na yun nga, there is a queerness to everyone, whether you'd like to say it or not. Na, it's just like people believe that there's this binary, but that's very traditional. But in a sense, mga man crush and female crushes exist for each gender, right? And I mean, at that very least, that's kind of like queer in a sense, but it's just branded as like a straight thing to have na, okay, I have a man crush, I like this guy if I were gay or something like that, diba? But I think it also opens up the bigger discussion of like true representation of LGBT in these types of shows, because a lot of the actors are mostly straight, and a lot di mo kasi alam kung it's not really revealed, I guess, if whether they're actually straight or not. And in a sense yun nga, it's kind of queer baiting na kasi in a sense kinakwento ni Chesca na they're kind of like the Kathniel of Thailand, na the branding is love team, and they're not, you don't really know if they're straight or not, but sometimes halata naman na okay, they're just playing a character and you're just playing along with your love team. So I mean, I guess that's a big issue in this genre, of course, getting true representation of the gay community, especially I guess na a lot of these actors in the shows are really good looking na they can pass off as straight as well, if you just look at them without the notion of okay, they're together as a love team in this show. Isipin mo lang na okay, si Papa P yan, 'di ba? If you were to pair him with Jericho Rosales in a BL in 2000, ganun yung vibe eh, parang
I would
you don't
watch
really
that.
know. I mean, you wouldn't.
ABS-CBN, Star Cinema, are you listening to Cholo?
Oh my God, they're both in the hunks. Right?
Piolo Pascual and Sam Milby BL. Ayan na. Simulan na yan. That's the hot take in here. Well, it's not really that hot, but Pero yun nga, that's a big question kasi na parang of course, this is a really good start to parang making LGBT representation more mainstream and more accepted and tolerated and embraced by a bigger contingent of people. But of course, there lies the issue nga na, okay, are they actually allies? Are they just doing this because they're actors? And I mean, ang dami naman kasi even in Hollywood who play gay characters naman and we don't take it against them. But of course, as we progress through time, we also wish na there would be like real life parang real life gay people playing gay characters and
Mm.
portraying gay struggles more than just
Mm-hmm.
straight passing super good looking guys pretending to be gay and making people swoon over them, because yun nga um, there has to be a bit more depth moving forward, I guess. I mean, kasi we're still at the infancy, kumbaga. It's been
Yeah.
on for a few years pa lang. I guess as we leave this Corona season, hopefully, and more of these are produced, then I guess I really hope uh, the representation is really presented well and they really show na, okay, when you interview these actors, the stories they would tell as well are relatable to the people watching, na walang dissonance between what's real and what's just on the show. What's your
Mm.
take on that, people?
Because like we've been talking about this a lot, like me and my friends, and like parang I've seen tweets na parang whenever people retweet parang GMMTV parang artistas or like actors, so parang oh like parang do you love them just because parang they look good, ganun. Parang kasi it's not just about representing or parang having an accurate representation. It's also affording parang like all these big opportunities to people who are actually from the community.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's like that in Thailand, na parang people of the community, people who are gay, parang don't get like as many parang gay roles or parang opportunities as like straight good-looking people. Parang that's also something we have to consider aside from the representation aspect, which is also like an important thing naman. Pero
Yeah.
that's one thing. I'm not really familiar with like yun nga, like Thai culture that much. So I'm gonna read up on it pa. Pero that's one thing that came up with my conversations.
Mm.
And I guess yun nga eh. I mean, in the writing itself, na it's also female writers writing it. Wala
Yeah.
Mm.
pa ata akong nababalitaan na it's an actual LGBT member, I guess, who wrote the story. I mean, I'm not discounting the fact that the story is there altogether, but you know, to have a first person point of view as to them struggling and them putting it into a piece of fiction. Ayun, that's like my take also.
Mm. Ako, I honestly don't know in terms of like if they're good representations. I don't wanna assume because I'm not part of the community. I mean,
Yeah.
it'll be great to have gay actors actually portraying gay roles. Um, yeah, it'll be perfect. I feel so. Yeah, that's my take. I don't wanna assume.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That's also, sorry, to add lang, parang it's hard then to assume na parang they're not gay or they're
Mm.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
or because they're not saying anything. So parang
Mm.
why would you? So it's hard. But it's not like a black and white
It's a gray
situation.
situation.
Yeah, very gray.
Mm. Yeah.
Agree.
Ako naman, siguro like my primary issue with the male actors is that would be the holding back. Na that they'd be holding back from the acting. Because I have no issue like if a straight actor would go for the role, sige, that's fine. Pero if something would
I-push
be
mo
holding
yan.
back from really
Oo.
going for
Yeah.
it, like okay, I mean this is not a very little known fact. Everyone knows this. Bright has a girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Si
Yeah.
Nevi. I mean, we don't know if they're still together.
Hey,
Pero,
ay,
pero I hope, hey,
issue.
but I hope they are. Hey, let's get this clear. I hope they are. But kasi, parang, there were so many issues and then, the fandom became toxic pa and everything. And
Yeah.
then, parang I feel like, something like that would be holding them back from really going all the way with the researching of like the roles, just really like representing, the LGBT, the queer community. Yun yung issue ko. If there's something that would hold them back. I mean, if you're gonna do it, go all the way. Like Torn type.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
exactly.
that's a prime example kasi, I mean, it's the only one I've seen, but they really go for the character and commit to the scene. And I mean, I guess even in Western shows, I mean, Chesca was saying Shadowhunters was her gateway into gay storylines. And
Yeah.
early in our day, we had Klain or Kurt and Blaine from Glee. And
Oh yeah. Oh
Diane
my
Chris
God.
isn't like
Yes.
gay,
Yes.
but they really committed to the role in a sense. And kikiligin ka rin talaga. And you can't make it an excuse just because you're straight.
Straight.
And
I
I
mean,
mean, you're an
you went
actor.
for the you
It's
went
about
for the
acting.
role knowing, and you went for the role knowing that it's gonna be a gay character. If
Mm.
being straight is gonna hold you back from giving your all, then why did you go for the character in the first place?
High
Galing-galing mo
five!
naman.
Charot!
Yeah, like, huh? Yeah,
But like when it comes to the writing naman, since it was also mentioned kanina, Cholo and I were having like a very long, unexpectedly long conversation like a few nights ago about it. Sabi ko naman kay Cholo na if there's anything that I really appreciate the with all this BL phenomenon, it's that there's a representation.
Uh-huh.
And all these representations may not be particularly accurate. But for me, knowing a lot of different people in the LGBT community and knowing a lot of different backstories, it's just really um, watching each series that I've seen so far. I could say that there is a very clear parallelism to reality. The thing is that reality isn't perfect. So parang these series show these characters, hindi rin siya perfect.
Yeah.
Gets. Pero parang, for me based on all the people I know and stories that I've known, so far, these series show different kinds of people. It's just that parang some people don't understand necessarily that. Like, for example, Tharn type, I'm sure there are people who've been through, experiences like those. And probably, it was a good I can't speak for them if it was a good representation, but nevertheless, it was a representation of something. Na, honestly, I was really crying in that scene where Type was, devastated, like the
Yeah.
trauma, right?
yeah.
So for me, sabi ko, for me who doesn't understand what people with trauma from that goes through, like at least ngayon naintindihan ko, oh, people who went through these might have, might go through that like in the middle of the night. Nobody knows. And they might be alone. Diba? So there's an attempt at representation, but as Cholo said, we're still in the what did you call it? Infantry.
Infancy.
Infancy.
We're in the infancy stage, so it's.
Yeah.
I hope we get there very soon.
I mean, the very fact that the representation is there, it's a good thing because 5 years ago, wala naman yung mga ganyang bagay. A lot of gay kids would just have straight relationships to root for. I mean, before Klain on Glee, there wasn't any other like super mainstream show that really represented like gay relationships. Even Britney and Santana lesbian relationships or mga LGBT. I mean, and since then, it really opened up further representation. There would be shows about being trans, being drag queens. I mean, RuPaul's Drag Race in itself, it's like a celebration of LGBT in whatever form it can take. And it's just really nice to have that in particular na, okay, it's a good start and hopefully it just really gets better. And I guess yun din yung appreciate ko sa Tharn type na as Franz was saying na parang it really gives you an insight din talaga to other people's struggles because, in the first episode, you'd think na, oh, this is so problematic and why is he so aggressive against gay people and why did Tharn do that to Type at the end of the episode? But you really see that there's a reason for it at the end of it kasi makikita mo naman talaga yung how they change and how it affects them and how their relationship progresses from that. And that's something important, especially for people who struggle to even accept that it also happened to them or to see that this kind of thing exists. And it, I guess it also puts a light na into other issues in the LGBT community because ang dami kasi you don't really have a femme gay yet na super femme na lead role at the very least.
na
Diba?
hindi joke. Kasi a
Oo.
lot of the femme gays in these dramas are taken as the comedic,
Yeah.
which again, another thing that I really don't like. These femme gays are taken as the comedic aspect of the show and they're never taken seriously, at least as far as I could tell. So yeah, it'll be nice to have a better representation of every single kind of LGBTQ individual.
I guess it's also really the internal misogyny and internal like patriarchal like aspect of the world na I guess the way to really start the conversation is to have like two a bit more masculine leaning characters to represent it at least in the very beginning kasi even in local LGBT content wala di pa ngayon pa lang din nagsisimula yung I guess more accurate representations because
They're more
syempre
masculine.
yeah kasi before or even until now some LGBT people or gay people are characterized as a stereotypical parlor gay and yung patawa comic relief and to have like movies like Die Beautiful for example show that world in a different aspect or show the world of drag as well makeup in a different light it really humanizes people and I hope BLs also start doing that as time goes on.
And I was just like going back to like the problematic aspects of these like Thai BL dramas. I was telling Cholo like over chat like a few weeks ago. It's like I know a lot of people had trouble or had like issues with that Thai type first episode thing. And yeah, I admit I also found it very problematic, but it doesn't what who's to say that it doesn't happen in reality
Yeah.
in real life.
Exactly.
And I feel like that allows conversation like that really sparked so much conversation online like on Twitter ang daming tama ba to, bakit ganon. And I feel like that's the healthiest part and I think why I like how Pimane, the author and the director approached this whole thing because it sparked conversation and it showed that oh, yes, this is a problem and we don't know it actually may be happening in real life. So
yeah. And also to add to what Cholo was talking about earlier in terms of the representation or the understanding of people with the types of the gays that we have na 'di ba we have parang ngayon we have yung mga masks wherein parang it's not really like a big thing because we've always had yung mga mask femmes na mga gays and I remember one of the major parts in Together With Me is coming out to the parents. Some BLs have those, no. And then parang doon, I like how it was written na the dad was very strict with not with pushing the character not to be gay because his understanding of being gay is suddenly like dressing up as a girl, becoming like a wife and all of that. And parang it was a journey of that particular character um helping his dad understand that it's not that's not the only kind of gays that we have. And I think that was a good way of, showing, helping other people understand, especially, the older generations na parang it's the definition or understanding of one person is stuck to how they think they are, but there are a lot of different ways.
And yeah, and like talking about like coming out, my favorite like coming out scene, and I feel like it's a very good representation. I mean, from my perspective, I cannot really say, but in Dark Blue Kiss,
Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna say, kiss me again in Dark Lucas.
yeah, like you can because from my perspective, like while watching the whole thing, I was kind of very frustrated with Tao because he had so many opportunities to come out to his mom, but he couldn't, or yeah, he really couldn't. And then at the end of the day, like after finishing the show, I'm like, yeah, it's not as easy. Like there are opportunities, but the sa nanay mo yun eh, what the fear is there. Like it really showed like it's not as easy as you think, which I like personally before watching the show, like seeing how the mom treated the Pete as from then, like before she thought who's like just Kao's best friend, you'd think na oh she would gladly accept it, but nanay mo yun eh, like what no matter what, the fear is always gonna be there. And yeah, Dark Blue is represented that very 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 well.
That's
Love
true.
that.
And I guess coming off of that as well, I wanna open up the conversation about like bi representation, because I mean, if you look at it closely, they're not a lot of the characters are actually kind of bi in a sense, or just queer, because it's really parang out there naman na they dated girls. They talk about having had dated girls, and the girls they've dated before and the girls they've fallen in love with before. So I don't know, kasi for me, and my perspective, because like I don't really necessarily want just gay representation, because there's a lot of bi erasure in media and in real life, especially na I don't really identify as just gay, for example. And seeing this kind of representation for me is really nice, kasi parang, heartthrob pareho si Tyne and Sarawat in both, I guess, in both factions, or in all teams. Na Tyne calls himself a chick boy, and Sarawat has his
Mr.
Sarawat.
Chick!
Kain kun siksik.
And yun nga, yung Sarawat Wives Club, di ba? Before Tyne and Sarawat even got together, may ganong aspect din eh. So, parang it's also nice for me na, may ganong aspect na it's just really love is love at the end of the day, na whether you've had relationships in the past with girls doesn't really necessarily mean that, it's just not possible for you to fall in love with a guy. So I don't know.
I have
What do
a
you guys
hot
think
take
about the
on that.
whole? Yeah.
Yes.
I have a
Let's
hot
go.
take on that. Like
You first.
warning, yeah.
I'm ready.
I don't know if they can be considered bi or gay, because I hate it when this happens. It's in Type also. When pagka tinatanong or pagka nabibring up na oh bakla ka na ganyan, may gusto ka na sa lalaki. Sasabihin niya na hindi, I don't like guys. I only like this. I only like hard.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't. I don't get it. I don't know.
Pandering in a sense. No?
Yeah.
That confuses me. Like,
Yeah.
why can't you admit na you're bi, or like you like men also?
I
Why
guess
do you
it's
have to?
a process kasi,
Yeah.
like the very fact that you're already in this relationship, you also have to come out to yourself in a sense that, okay, I can be attracted to guys, not just girls, but you're not really sure kung
Yeah.
if it's just this relationship or in the future you'd be open to other things. But I guess it's very fact that it's possible at the very least that makes it kind of like acceptable on my end at the least. Si Nikki, I think, wants to say something about this.
Yeah, like, I agree with what you said, na parang it's not something immediate, na parang just because you used to like girls, or parang you had a relationship with a girl, and then parang now you have a relationship with a guy, parang it's something na you can declare na parang, oh, I'm like this. Parang, you have, parang there's like a certain, parang coming to terms with it, especially if parang your entire life you believe na parang, I'm this lang. And like in terms of parang saying na it's by representation, if anything, I feel like if it would be that, they have to be more firm about it. Hindi yung
Yeah.
parang
Mm.
just implied na yun. Like, it, because parang not a lot of people accept or parang see bisexuals as like a thing. Parang
Exactly.
either you're gay or you're lesbian or
Yeah. Or you're
parang
straight.
ganun. Yeah, like, very, parang binary pa rin in a way. And parang, especially if you're a show na parang a lot of people watch, if you wanna claim parang that representation, you have to be more firm about it na hindi like paligoy-ligoy ka na parang it's up to you to decide what this is. Parang you have that power eh.
I think that's really a big issue kasi even not just in BLs, not just in Western media, but in the LGBT community na, you know, even especially in the Philippines, I would say from experience na, you know, even gay people, you know, wouldn't really recognize you as bi. Na they're gonna say, oh, you're just waiting to just be gay, period. And you
Yeah.
know, they don't
Yeah.
really, they just discount your experience na, okay, you're open to loving guys or girls or whoever, you can be pansexual. But to them kasi it's just also binary na, okay, you can either just be straight or gay. So it's just like a bigger issue, I guess, in the LGBT discourse na,
Yeah.
especially in this country, for sure. Kasi even in Glee, for example, the character of Britney, for a time, you don't really know if she's like fully bi, lesbian, or what. Kasi they pair her up with Artie, for example, and then she'd be back with Santana, and then with another guy, and then with Santana again. So like, what is the stand nga na tama nga si Nikki na you have to be firm about this. And I guess as we explore these types of genres and LGBT related content, I would really like to see a truly bisexual representation, if you can call it that.
Yeah.
And I guess just parang a recognition that bisexuals exist.
Yeah, like,
Is a
Yeah.
thing, yeah.
Or at
I think-
least if they were going to do something like that, na maganda yung mga point niya kanina eh, na as Cholo said na it's a journey. It's like there a part of you is still coming out to yourself. Like parang I think what people don't understand is that this is based from my own experience also. Coming out from the closet, parang I thought everything was that already. Apparently, there's a bigger closet, and that's something that I've been recently realizing. And part of that is, you know, coming out of the closet means that there's so much to explore, even with like understanding ourselves. Because the coming out of the closet part is just really like parang the first step to telling yourself dati, and then the rest is a journey. So, you know, it would be very interesting if a series could also focus on something like that as part of the storyline.
Like
diba?
a coming out
Like
story.
a character development.
Yeah.
Everyone just knows coming out, and then that's it. Nobody talks about
how you
what happens afterwards.
How you deal with
Right?
it, yeah.
Yeah.
So you
exactly.
constantly have to come out again and again. Like the first of course is your family and your friends, but you know, every new person you meet, you have to like disclose again na, oh, okay, this is what I am, who I am. It's not easy, I guess, talaga na, you know, and not everyone, it's really a different experience for each person. Sometimes I guess you don't really even have to come out. People just understand you as you.
Yeah.
And a lot of people also don't recognize that, and they would push that on you na parang, why don't you just come out to people? Because, you know, halata naman, di ba? Mga ganyan. Pero sometimes it's just like unspoken na
Yeah.
it's just given and you just have to accept it. But some people are just really closed-minded, I guess.
I was gonna ask if like coming out like literal na you're gonna announce or you're gonna tell people is it very important in prime time yun yung biggest problem ni Type when they were together. Like he was like, yeah, we're together. Do I have to announce that we're together? Do I have to announce that you're my boyfriend? Like, is it?
I guess it really differs from person to person because some people, it's a non-negotiable for your partner to be out. Kasi, ibang struggle na naman na, okay, you have to keep the secret, you have to walk on eggshells. But I guess to some people, they just really want to be low-key. So it really depends, I guess, on the type of person.
I think for me naman, it's really parang there are many ways of coming out. But for me, the most important is that you come out to yourself. For me, that's the most important.
Yeah, for sure.
Because when you come out to yourself, when you finally know who you are and you admit to yourself who you are, yun yung sinasabi, sometimes you don't have to explain it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, as Mama Ru would say, we're all born naked and the rest
is drag.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, that's the very essence of it. Na, you just claim who you are and then whatever, screw other people and what they think. Because at the end of the day, you just have to, you just have to accept yourself. And bahala na, it just depends on the environment you're in and the people you're surrounding yourself with kung paano nila iti-take kung sino kang. Kasi hindi naman lang yan sa LGBT. I guess it also applies to personalities and interests. Like, if you don't like K-pop, then, I don't know, mga ganung bagay, diba? May mga anti-K-pop people who don't recognize it just because it's your interest. Then, just whatever, leave them away. I mean, just go away from them.
Even yung mga parang, di ba, like, kanwari, parents or grandparents set expectations for some kids na parang, oh, you're gonna handle the business, oh, you're gonna take this course. Even telling them what it is that you really want to do, technically that's also something like coming out of the closet because that's telling people who you are. Right?
So I guess it's just really a bigger conversation to be had because it's so layered and there's so many things to explore, and BL series really can't contain everything at once. That's why multiple shows exist and multiple writers develop it. And I guess that's how we're approaching this last part of our discussion on BL series. Na, of course, with the advent of Thai BLs and Asian BLs, syempre, hindi magpapatalo ang Pilipinas at hindi magpapatalo ang Pilipinas. Dahil a lot of series are already in development here in the Philippines. And multiple studios are already working on it. So I'm just gonna give the ones I've researched on that I've seen online at the very least. On I Want, there's Oh Mando. So that's directed by Eduardo Roy Jr., the director of Fuckboys. And it stars Alex Diaz, the controversial Alex Diaz, and Cocoy De Santos. I mean,
controversial.
Because of the whole somebody outed him on the internet, basically.
I have to look into this.
We will
we will go
we'll
into
talk about it.
Wait, is this the director that's also like quite controversial then?
No, that's different.
Oh.
That's another guy who's also working on that, but we shall not name him.
I heard
question. Di ba yung actor si Kokoy?
Yeah.
He has another BL show. I'm not sure if it's the same,
Fuckboys?
Is it Game Boys? Like, because I'm watching it now and he's
yeah. I think that's him.
Fuckboys ba or Game Boys? Iba pa yun?
Game Boys.
Magkaiba pa yun.
Magkaiba.
Oh, I haven't
I can
seen
talk
that
about it
yet.
later.
Yeah.
I just saw the article.
So yun, aside from that, there's also Globe Studios, Gaya sa Pelikula by Juan Miguel Severo, the famous poet and friend of Katniel. Friend of Katniel talaga. Actually, itong Gaya sa Pelikula, the screenplay of episode 1 and 2 are already in Wattpad, so you can read that. I read part of it yesterday. It's pretty interesting. And it also has it also has a brief background of why he wanted to work on this show. As with everyone who's appreciating this genre, this made him realize na this kind of show is possible, and yun. Just you can read it on Wattpad. Just search uh Gaya sa Pelikula by Juan Miguel Severo. It's also on his
Is it
Twitter.
nice? Is it nice?
From what I've read, it's very interesting, and medyo nilagay niya sa UST yata. Yun na-imagine ko sa UST yung student.
Oh my gosh. That's my school and course. You better write it.
Architecture din! Architecture!
Oh my gosh.
Legit.
Tama dapat yung representation nito.
And then there's also one from TV5. It's called My Extraordinary. It's new actors, so I'm not completely sure about. I don't think they have other projects so far. So those are some of the ones that are in development. We're excited to see them and how they approach this. But I guess question to everyone: what's your like wish list for these shows, and what do you think they should do differently compared to the Thai ones we've been watching? Kasi syempre, of course, I really hope it's not just like they just felt like it because it's popular and they're just doing it just because
Yeah.
they're doing it.
That's
At
what
the
I was
very
gonna
least, the
say.
intention of making the show. Kasi, di ba, malamang sikat yan eh. Kasi very Filipino yung, okay, what's trending? Let's make our own version of it. So hopefully it's not like just a clear adaptation like the Dots adaptation on GMA. I've seen the trailer and my mom told me about it as well, the show na parang it's just kind of like a replica of the Korean one but put Filipino characters and cast members onto it. So hopefully it really speaks not just of the parang ones we've seen on Thai shows but also very Pinoy talaga yung hinahanap ko na relatable naman sana at the very least yung characters, storylines. Kasi hindi naman iba rin talaga yung how LGBT is treated in the Philippines. So it really has to be swak with that. Be swak with that. That's so cool.
Biswa. Yeah.
Very Ateneo.
Iba yung culture natin sa culture ng like Thailand. Like, this show, okay, like, this is what I was talking about. Game Boys. I watched it last night, the first episode. And it's
It's series.
yeah,
Ito siya, Cholo. Ayan.
yeah.
Oh.
It's about gamers. So, parang it's a very parang relatable thing to
Yeah.
a lot of young people. I personally am not a gamer, but I know a lot of people are. And parang it's a big thing here in the Philippines, diba? Parang, yun, like parang things like that, or parang simple things like how the world looks like. It's really different. And
So, ito palang Game Boys, I'm seeing this now, is from the Idea First Company. So, that's another studio. Sila actually yung gumawa ng Die Beautiful and a lot of shows and series. So, I guess it's an interesting thing we will look at after we record this.
yes.
It just came out. It just came out.
It's short so far, but yun.
May papanoorin ako.
Kahapon lang siya. As in, as we record this,
I
kahapon lang siya.
Oh, right. 22nd. Kahapon na
Saan to? Sa I Want?
Sa
Sa
YouTube.
YouTube.
Kasi hindi siya
easy
previously
access.
announced eh. Ngayon ko lang din siya nabalitaan.
Yeah, ako rin, nalaman ko lang from my friend. Yun.
So, next episode is Game Boys episode. Pero
Ako naman, may hope.
Ano yung wishlist niyo? Yeah, Franz.
Ako my hope is that they really it's like what you said na parang to tailor fit the writing and the representation to our culture. For me, I want them to tackle Filipino values and Filipino beliefs, most especially the ones that actually hold us back from progressing as a country, or even the progression of the LGBT movement here, diba? Kasi, a lot of, Filipinos can be very judgmental also. And it's because we strongly hold on to beliefs, to our beliefs.
And the Catholic, Catholic beliefs then, in particular.
Exactly.
Very close-minded, in short.
So, really good writing of how they represent the LGBT community and how our beliefs hold us back from moving forward from that. I think that's something that I'd be like crying over for months if that does happen, you know. Then talaga, yung talagang you'd know na all your straight friends would want to watch it.
Uh-huh.
Or you'd really push your friends, please, please, please watch it. Diba? That's actually my top and my only like most important wish.
Yeah. For me, like, I feel like it'd be very interesting to see, like, how they represent na our culture accurately. And parang, because there are a lot of parang very interesting Pinoy things na, parang LGBT things in the Philippines, na parang I don't really see in other countries or in other cultures. Parang this very strong sense of pageantry, parang pagkabata. Parang yung mga ganun, like some things that they've already shown in movies like ano yung ang pagdadalaga ni
Maximo Oliveros.
Maximo Oliveros.
Yeah, like parang stuff, parang very Filipino things. Because that's what's gonna make it different from Thai BL. And yeah, like just like parang good writing, like good characterization.
Yeah.
Parang like that's very important.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's my wish.
Akin, isa lang. I mean, this is my biggest pet peeve when it comes to like local Filipino either cinema or like teleserye is the cheesy writing. not just the story, but the script, like the way they talk. Pagka, I don't know how to explain it. It just feels very cheesy to me.
Yeah.
Yung mga Pinoy na teleserye. That's why I don't watch. Like the most recent Filipino like thing that I've seen is yung Catherine Bernardo and Alden movie. Yung sa Hong Kong, which I actually really love.
Yes.
Yeah, which I actually really love because it didn't feel cheesy to me. It felt very natural. Yung the script, script felt very natural.
Mhm.
Na like for example, like teleserye, pagka may mayaman na character, like kailangan super yaman. Thus the way they talk, very very scripted and very fake to me.
Parang not relatable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's not just not relatable because obviously ang yaman nila, but it's not very well
Really.
representative. I don't know. I guess that's relatable. The relatability of kahit na I'm straight, this is gonna be a gay BL movie or drama. I still want it to be very relatable, like because they're, I guess, millennials.
Mhm.
The relatability of being a millennial as well, and so writing in the script and the storyline is like the top ask and wish for me. And being very Filipino, because that's what's gonna differentiate it from the rest, and that's gonna erase yung fear ko na they're just doing it for the hype.
Yeah. Sana lang talaga hindi pilit at the end of the day.
Yung pagiging pilit. Oh.
I have another thing pala sa wish list ko. That kind of goes back to what you're talking about. The representation. Like, the acting. Or parang having actors chosen for the roles. I hope it's not like parang they just choose. Parang kung sino yung popular na actor. Parang someone who's good or is in the community or both. Or, yun, like parang just not to make money off of it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess props to Alex Diaz for accepting this role after the whole controversy. I mean, I hope it opens up then the conversation for like Filipino showbiz in general about being gay in showbiz. Na it's or buy at the very least. Na it's acceptable and
It
you don't really
normalizes it.
it really doesn't have
Yeah.
to be something looked down upon because a lot of celebrities are actually just hiding it because it's part of their job to hide it and it will ruin the allure of their matinee idolship to a lot of people. And I hope
Or yeah, sorry.
tanggapin nga siya ng mainstream media kasi syempre tayo Twitter, we're very Twitter-centric people but the Twitter ideologies don't necessarily apply to the bigger population out there who'd be pretty shocked by these type of shows, I'm sure. So sana nga maganda yung maging kalabasan ng discussion and discourse. I guess we'll have a sequel episode about these Pinoy BLs soon enough.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we'll see
After
how it
watching it.
comes out after that. Chesca was saying something also.
Yeah, no, yeah. In the point that you made about like having people accept these actors as gay, because I feel like I just hope that it normalizes it and it becomes a non-issue. I know like people talking about it puts a spotlight on this topic and helps to normalize it, but I feel like parang nakakapagod na for me. Like for example, when Piolo Pascual was being suspected as gay, it's like a whole thing. Why does it have to be a whole thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Why can it why isn't like Jericho being straight a thing?
Yeah.
Like why does being gay have to be a thing? You know? I just hope that it normalizes. It starts. I know it's not gonna happen immediately, but I hope it starts to be a normal issue, a normal thing that's a non-issue.
Yeah, I mean, I guess yun na nga yung pinaka maganda about this Thai BL phenomenon, and it kind of like jumpstarts other cultures like ours into exploring these genres that it's possible to do these types of stories and people will accept them. So I guess we're really hoping for the best. We wish everyone who's working on a BL right now the best of luck and that you come out with good output that we will enjoy and we will talk about in the future.
Yes.
Any last words about Pinoy BLs?
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm
excited.
Manonood na ako ng Game Boys after we talk.
After this,
I'm gonna is it a weekly thing? Weekly episode? Or
Feeling ko. And it
Gagawa
seems
na ba
like
tayo ng group chat?
pwede. But I guess that brings us to our break and we will be back with more popcorn after this short break. It will just be the part where I will put a Thai commercial para lang funny. Maglalagay din ako after SPG, maglalagay din ako ng para dalawa yung commercials para funny.
Yung commercial.
Oh, si Apple Honey. Apple Honey Lie.
Ano yun yung idolo ba yun? Yung makeup?
Ay, yung makeup. Napapasok na ng Pilipinas, di ba?
Oo nga.
Oo, sa New Off Gun. Lahat sila in that spread. I love that.
Alam mo, di natin
Saint of
napag-usapan
Grace.
yung capitalizing on BLs.
We can talk about that when we return from the break, which is in a few seconds. Okay. 3, 2, 1. And we are back here on Popcorn for our last segment. But before anything else, I think Franz would like to say some few words that we would like to bring up about BLs before we head to our last part of the show.
I'm sure everyone noticed this. BL series are also being used as a means of capitalization. You know what I mean? Like
Capitalizationism.
I mean, you know, given the commercials, diba? Yung Oishi Apple Honey.
Alabang apple.
Kalabang green apple.
Aminin nyo, it really sticks to us.
Yeah.
Diba? And then having Together being a big sensation, they started selling, I think it was like too much already when they were selling yung Oishi Apple Honey tas may notes pa. Right?
Ayun ba na, Nicholas?
I don't know, I saw a post about it. That's why I was like, I think that's like parang too much already. Pero you know, people are buying.
I mean,
may mas malala dyan. New Gulf were at the event for a bank. I think it was a bank or insurance.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, they were there for a bank. Anong kinalaman nun? Sa mag-invest ka, ganon.
I guess it's really an
Sa
Asian
future.
thing to begin with. Kasi even outside BLs naman, you'd have our Vic Soto and Chris Aquino movies which would have so much product placement na very evident. And ganun din
Mm-mm.
in a sense. And I guess in their case, like Thorn Type, I believe, they really needed product placements or like sponsors to make the show happen,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's
For
a
the
way
second season.
fun to
For the
show.
second season.
Yeah, so I guess it's also the business aspect of trying
Yeah.
to make the show happen.
Happen.
So I mean, it's part of it. I mean, you have Western merch na lahat ng things bibilin mo. I mean, look at my background
Or,
right now. And you also have K-pop na you'd buy all
Yeah.
yeah.
the albums, everything.
Actually, pet peeve ko yun for a lot of BL dramas na you can do product placements subtly. Like,
Yeah.
if you've seen Why Are You, the series, their product placements are actually very subtle. It's weaved into the story. Like, very, I don't know, I just felt na sa Together very forced. Hindi
Hindi
siya
yung
Yeah.
kasama
umiinom,
sa, hindi
parang
siya,
umiinom na sila. Oh, ito na. Tingnan nyo na.
yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Sa Why Are You, it's
Ayan si
very
Franz.
natural.
Oishi apple honey lie.
Tayong Carabao na favorite daw ni Sarawat. Ano, hindi, like for sa Why Are You, like si tutor, like he needed the money, so he went to work for this department store na who was selling makeup products, and he was talking about the makeup products kasi salesperson siya, and that was the product placement. And like yung morning after they woke up, they were like being very cutesy in the bathroom brushing their teeth, and that was the product placement for the toothpaste. It felt very natural, very unlike other, like most of the Thai BL dramas that I've seen.
Yeah.
Very forced, in your face. This is Oishi apple honey, or yung
Gluta+.
seaweed, or yung seaweed
lahat.
sa sa Theory of Love, yung seaweed.
Snap.
Very like
Yeah.
yung mashita, was it mashita? Yung seaweed.
Parang
yung
part
favorite
ni,
daw ni
part ni sa scene ng Together na Sarah was like, uy, umiinom ka rin pala ng gluta. And I was like, yeah.
Oh my god, it felt so unnatural. It felt so fake. It felt so unnatural.
Maybe,
But yeah,
The writing
yeah.
yeah.
Or I have this experience, no? So I was talking to you guys about Together With Me. I don't mind having product placement if it enhances the story. So in Together With Me next chapter, there's Tulpokorn who plays Knock is actually an endorser or ambassador of Owndays. And then there was this scene na, you know what, for me, really good product placement wherein parang, their couple ganyan, and then parang they sit down, and then parang Korn was trying to get, intimate and everything. Tas parang who do you call this? Knock was wearing the glasses. Tas parang they were talking about something, but then you'd have to take it off from me. Something like that. So for me, exactly, that's product placement. Diba? Hindi yung parang gluten na parang inaantok ako, so inom ako ng gluten.
Where's the connect?
Very, very fake. That's why I'm quite scared for Tarn Type, because this is the first season. Walang product placement, like
Yeah.
everything was out of Pimim's pocket, which that's why walang product placement. I loved it. Walang commercials, walang Oishi apple honey. But this second season would have the face mask, yung brand ng face mask. Hira Blue. So I'm quite worried about that. I hope they weave it in such a way na same with Together With Me, like very natural, very like part of the story, hindi yung
Yeah.
ito yung yeah. Hope.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I guess siguro cultural thing din eh. Kasi I noticed on their Instagram posts na iba din yung artista culture nila na their product placements even on Instagram are really outright instead of like yung mga sa Pilipinas na ang daming arte-arte na may mahabang speech about it and then medyo nakatago lang siya. They're like outright promoting like okay,
May
look
isang
at this
buong
product.
vlog.
Yeah, exactly. So, parang I
Oh,
guess
that
it's
is
also that.
true. That is true. That
Mm-mm.
is true. When when YouGov was promoting this pimple cream on sa Instagram nila, it's very like here's the pimple cream. Ha. But yeah, I guess in the culture.
So, I guess dito rin magkakaroon din for sure. So, we'll have
For
to see
sure.
about that. But that kind of ends our conversation about Thai BLs and the upcoming Filipino BLs. But of course, we also have our Pop Stop or our last segment of the show where we give our pop culture recommendations unrelated or pwede rin namang related to this week's topic. So it's anything you want to recommend for the week that you've like consumed. Well, I'm gonna go first. Um, I will recommend Tarn Type, of course, the series. I recommended it before, but it's how I got into this genre thanks to Chesca. And it's a really nice show. Dun talaga ako kinikilig versus Together, to be honest about it. And it's just really a nice progression of characters and storyline. And you just have to get past that problematic first episode as we've been talking about again and again.
Yes.
And aside from that, I mentioned that I started anime just recently, like full-on show, na hindi lang random episodes on TV. I'm watching My Hero Academia. It's really fun. People are calling it basic, but for a basic person like me, I'm really into it. And it's really engaging kasi it's just really the story of good and bad and like being a hero in
Mm.
whatever form. And it's just really fun if you're into superheroes. Um, it's something easily digestible. If you're into Marvel Cinematic Universe, then it's like an anime counterpart in a sense. Na maraming heroes na you're gonna be invested in. The story is really cool, and it's just a fun show to watch. I couldn't stop myself. I watched this in the middle of watching Descendants of the Sun also. So, ayun, maganda rin yung doubts naman. But aside from that, I guess I won't expound because I've been talking about it again and again on this show. Stream Dedicated Side B by Carly Rae. We just had an episode about it. And stream
Yes.
Neo Zone The Final Round by NCT 127. Punch, yes. Stream NCT.
Yes.
Okay, who wants to
Okay.
go next?
I'll go next. Okay. So I recommend streaming Rain on Me, Lady Gaga and Ariana Grande.
I was gonna suggest
Queen.
that.
Both the song and the music video.
Yes.
Because we need to talk about how in one
The gays
scene,
are winning. The gays are being fed.
Goodbye, Miss Rona.
So this saved pop music. I must
Honestly.
say, this
Yes.
really saved
What
pop
a
music.
their music.
Definitely. And besides that, I would also like to recommend for everybody, also for you guys to check out Together with Me, the series. So it's 3 seasons already. You can choose whether to start with Bad Romance or you can start with Together with Me. It's a really good series. It brings up a lot of discussion on different BL values, and for me, yun pa rin yung favorite ko. So I highly really recommend it. So that's all. Thank you.
Jessica, would you like to?
Okay, I'll go next. I was gonna recommend Rain on Me because I've been listening to it.
It's a bop.
Queen,
Non-stop.
yes.
And Chromatica is coming out. So
Yeah.
watch out for it.
Next week, right? Next week.
Yes. I mean, by the time this is out, it should be
that's
out
true. It should
already,
be out.
or a day before it would be the time to come.
Yeah. And then I also want to recommend, I'm gonna try and recommend like something per category. So music would be like Rain on Me. And my boys, like
Yeah.
my boys got 7.
Yes.
Got 7. Stream Die DYE. Stream Swear Not by the Moon.
Yes.
Yeah, and my boys.
Such a good music video. I can't. I was
Amazing.
like, Chesca, this is
Amazing,
so
my
good.
boys.
Oh my gosh.
Stan got 7, Stream got 7 on Spotify. Yes, plug.
And stream
And
100 Ways by Jackson Wang.
oh yeah, that's true. And for something to watch, I was just watching this earlier today, and I haven't finished it actually. Watch The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan docu on Netflix. Even if you're not a basketball fan, I personally am not. But I grew up watching my dad watch basketball, watch NBA, and it's such a, I feel like, cultural phenomenon back in the 90s. And even if you're not into basketball, Michael Jordan is such a household name, especially I'm pretty sure in the Philippines where basketball is such a huge thing.
Yeah.
So The Last Dance, like you'll feel, because they'll have like clips from his like games back in the 90s, and it feels like you're there. Like even if you know that they've won championship after championship, it feels like very exciting pa rin. So yeah, The Last Dance. Anime, yeah, My Hero Academia, I tried it. I couldn't get into it. I'm gonna try again. But I'm gonna recommend Demon Slayer, like the best anime of 2019, hands down. I just actually started it when it came on Netflix, because yeah, all my friends are saying that it's amazing. So yeah, Demon Slayer, OVA, or like a movie that's gonna be the sequel of the first season, is gonna come out this year in October. I think. So yeah, watch it on Netflix. Best anime of 2019. I think by Crunchyroll, I think, is the one who declared that. Yeah, it's about demon slayers. They go out and kill demons and protect the human world from demons. Amazing. A bit bloody, but the storyline is actually very, very sad. If you want to be emotional, if you want to laugh, it's all in there. Demon Slayer. And lastly, I wanna, nalimutan ko yung isa pa recommend ko. May i-recommend pa akong isa. I know this is very I don't know if it's considered pop culture, and it's very controversial. I know a lot of people didn't like Call Me by Your Name, but I just finished the sequel, the book, finally.
Ooh, I haven't read it yet.
Yeah, it started off a bit bumpy because I know a lot of the problematic stuff is because of the age gap.
Yeah.
And the whole book is basically that. But if you look past the age gap, it's actually a very well written. I mean, I cannot deny that Andre Aciman is a very good writer, a very good author.
He really takes you there, you know.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like how profound he writes. It's amazing. Wanna recommend that. It might be a bit a kind of like a hot take as well, but I finished the book very quickly. So those are all my Got
And
7.
just to add, before Nikki starts her recommendation, maganda rin talaga yung Call Me by Your Name na book. If you love the movie, then the book will just really like open up a different world and a different experience. Kasi it's different to read it talaga, and it's I mean, the movie itself is really good, but the book is another thing altogether. And if you wanna not read it, or after you've read it, listen to the audiobook featuring Armie Hammer's super sexy voice reading the whole book to you.
Yes.
Super ganda nun. Okay, Nikki.
Okay, so my Thai BL recommendation is Theory of Love. My favorite, honestly, kasi it's about comm majors.
Oh my gosh.
I love it so much. And I love Off Gun. They're like my favorite. I love them.
Cute nila.
Diba? Sobra. Sorry, Ting.
Gun superior actor. I mean, Gun was amazing in that show.
Sobra. I love them and Tainu. Music, I recommend D2.
Yeah.
August D. Daming music releases. So also, I mean, Cardi Ray, Lady Gaga, Stream all this, Charlie XCX. And the show I'm watching now that I really like, Hospital Playlist on Netflix. It's a medical show, but it's kind of funny, and it's a good cast, ensemble cast.
It's a K-drama, diba?
Yeah, but yeah, it's a medical parang K-drama thing. And
it's produced by the same people as Reply. If you like Reply.
So same format, diba? Ish.
And it's parang it just finished, I think, or it's about to finish. Parang they're still uploading the episodes on Netflix. Yan, those are my recommendations. Yes.
And with that, that is the end of our show. Thank you so much, Chesca, Nikki, and Franz, for joining this episode of About BLs. And of course, thank you to everyone for listening and watching this episode. Of course, you can go follow us on social media that's at Popcorn with Cholo, at Popcorn W Cholo on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Of course, our Pinoy Pop category game is still up on Instagram. It's a fun game. Go check it out. We've been getting like over 100,000 plays for the game in the last 2 weeks. So it's been really nice to promote the podcast and Filipino pop culture at the same time. So yeah, go check it out. It's on our Instagram page. Just check the filter tab. And of course, continue listening to all our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you stream your podcasts. Of course, we're also on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM. Our video episodes are live streaming there every Thursday. And you can check all our video episodes on that platform as well. So thank you so much, everyone. We'll see you real soon. Bye.
Kapag crab.
For all things pop. Catch our all This is your stop for all things pop. Catch our all-around pop culture geek Cholo Sediaren as he throws in some dose of what's poppin' and what's hot in the pop culture scene here on Popcorn. Munch in with us every Thursdays from 4 to 6, only here on Radyo Katipunan 87.9 FM.